Hi guys! Today let's talk about how you can get a filming permit for a public park in Japan. Parks are really popular locations for filmmakers, and in Japan most parks will have some kind of policy regarding how you can film there. That being said, the rules and restrictions and fees and everything do vary greatly. And in some parks, you're not allowed to shoot at all. If you want to use a park as a filming location, you can get a filming permit from the institution that manages the park. Since parks are public spaces, they're usually under the jurisdiction of either the city or ward or village or prefecture or other municipality. Some large parks have on-site park offices, so in that case it's really easy, you already know where to go. Those park offices are usually called Kanri Jimsho or Koen Jimsho. So in case there is no such office directly in the park will be under the jurisdiction of a public office. Usually this public office will be called something like Doboku Jimsho, which is kind of loosely translated depending on where you look as public works office or civil engineering office. You should also be aware that some parks that are situated along a river or near the coast might be under the jurisdiction of the local port authority or port office, Wangan Jimsho, or the local river office or Kasen Jimsho. It's one of the hardest things really to figure out who to talk to about a filming permit, so that's the first thing you need to do. If you found a park you like, figure out where you need to go to get a filming permit. If the park has an office on site, then it's easy, you just go there. If it doesn't, usually there will be a sign or plaque or something that states the name of the park near one of the entrances. More often than not, they also give you a telephone number that you can call. So that's where you should start. If it doesn't have a telephone number, you can look up the name of the park online, and that should at least give you the public works office responsible for that park. Once you've figured out which office is responsible for the park, call them up and ask about the rules and regulations for filming there. Larger parks will have those rules on their website as well. And usually the ward offices and city offices have a general homepage that give you the overall regulations for all the parks that are under their jurisdiction. There may be quite a few restrictions as to how and when you can shoot, so let's go through the things that you will most likely encounter. There are usually restrictions regarding what kind of scene you're allowed to shoot. So usually you're not allowed to shoot anything that goes against public order and morality. Also, there will be restrictions as to which parts of the park you are allowed to use for a film shoot, especially in larger parks. They usually have quite large areas that are off limits for you, and usually it will be facilities such as toilets or playgrounds that are used by other visitors as well that you won't be allowed to shoot in. There will always be restrictions as to which days of the week and what time of the day you are allowed to shoot in a park. Most parks will not allow you to shoot on the weekend. Usually if there is a park office, they're not open on the weekends and they want someone from the office to be there while you shoot, so they won't allow you to shoot on weekends. Also, most parks, again most parks, not all, will have a restriction that you are only allowed to shoot during daytime. So as soon as the sun goes down, you will not be allowed to shoot there. Also, if the park has opening hours, usually those will apply to your shoot as well. Many parks find it necessary to also restrict the length of time that you can actually shoot there. I've seen parks that only allow you 3 hours or 5 hours. Some parks are fine with you filming there all day long. Just be aware that that might happen. And lastly, there may be a restriction regarding the number of participants, meaning cast and crew. I've seen up to 10 people, up to 15 people. Again, some parks are okay with a big crew coming in, some are not. You just have to find out at the office. If your shoot fits the park's rules, you can start the application process. Usually that involves you handing in the following documents: an application form, your pitch deck, an explanation of the scenes you want to shoot there, sometimes with script, and a map of the park where you put down exactly where you want to shoot, where you will put your base, where you will put generators, etc. You should also know that if a park includes sports facilities, let's say tennis courts or stadium, those will fall under the jurisdiction of that park office. So if you want to use those, you have to go to the park office as well. There might be special fees and restrictions applying, so make sure you mention exactly where you want to shoot. Some parks may also want you to give an estimate about how much of an area you're going to use for your shoot, meaning how many square meters you're going to use. While that seems a bit weird, it's sometimes used to calculate just how much they're going to charge you. So make sure you think about that ahead of time so you have an answer for that question when it comes up. One thing you should be aware of that is a little bit weird in Japan is that many of these park offices are not really set up for email communication. So you will end up faxing them your documents once so that they can check the documents and then come back to you about things that they have questions about or things they want you to change. Sometimes they say they will call you back. Sometimes you're supposed to fax the documents and then call right after. Kind of depends on the park again. And once you've gone through all the documents, everything is in order, the dates are available, and they see no problem with your shoot, you're then allowed to go and take the actual documents to the office in charge and hand them in person there. At that point, you will also have to pay the fee for your shoot. Fees for parks usually range somewhere between a few thousand yen to about 20,000 yen, I would think, per hour. So there are some outliers that are more expensive, but most parks will fall within that range. It usually takes at least a week from the date of application until you can actually get your permit. And sometimes it takes longer, so you should make sure to ask ahead of time how long it's going to take the park office to prepare that permit for you. Since your documents are checked before you actually apply, you're pretty much guaranteed a permit at the end of like a week or however long it takes. It's kind of hard to make any changes once the application has been filed. So if you have any inkling that times might change, dates might change, something like that, you should let the office know before you hand in the application. And if it's a park that is kind of used to people filming there, the staff will understand that a production can be kind of fluid and the schedule might change. So if you let them know ahead of time, they might be willing to give you a little bit of leeway and, for example, put other times in the same day on hold, or at least let you know to which other times you might be able to push your shoot when no one else has already registered for a permit. Once your permit is done, you can then again go to the office and pick up the permit. You should have it on you at all times while you shoot in the park. Now, on the day of your shoot, if the park has an office on site, it's customary that you go there and check in with them before your shoot starts, and also when you're done shooting and everything is packed and you're ready to leave. Also, if your shoot is cancelled or for whatever reason you cannot shoot when you thought you would shoot, let the park office know. Not only if there's an office on site, but also if you have applied at a public office in the city hall, please let them know that you're not going to shoot. As you can imagine, rules and regulations are a little more strict in larger cities than they are in the countryside. So if you have a very involved shoot or a long night shoot, something like that, I would say it's wise to look to, let's say, not Tokyo, but the neighboring prefectures to find a park location there that can accommodate your shoot. Last but not least, a little side note, it's sometimes hard to know if the location you're looking at is a park or not. Obviously, there will be many parks that anyone who looks at them will say, yes, this is a park, then it's very obvious and you're good to go. But in Japan, the definition of a park is very wide. So some playground toys on concrete under a highway might be a park. A terrace along a river with no trees inside might be a park. Just an open space with a bench on it, that might be a park. So if you're in doubt about if the location you want to shoot in is a park or not, and you cannot find a sign to help you out, I would suggest you call the police station that is responsible for that area, and you ask the person in charge of road use permits about whether the location you're looking at is okay to shoot in with a road use permit, or if you need a different permit from a park office, and if so, who to talk to. And they'll be able to help you out. And that is most of what I know about filming in public parks in Japan. If you found this video helpful, feel free to share it, and stay safe. Bye.